and call our meeting back to order. Mr. Ray, would you read us out of closed, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss the investigation of a student matter pursuant to the Scholastic Record Exemption at 2.2-37718-2 of the Code of Virginia, and to discuss the acquisition of real property for a public purpose, or discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the school board pursuant to the real property exemption at 2.2-37118-3 of the Code of Virginia. And I also move to certify to the best each member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such business matters were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened or heard, discussed, considered in the meeting by the school board.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.03, action from closed.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to allow students 2023 to 2024, numbers 21 through 23, to be exempt from Roanoke County Public Schools under religious exemption.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to impose a 365-day long-term suspension in case number 2023-2024, number 2, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to issue a written decision detailing the terms and conditions during this suspension of that student.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to welcome everybody to our October 18, 2023 Roanoke County School Board meeting. If I could have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 4.01, announcement of changes in the agenda. I believe there are none. All right, item 4.02, approval of agenda with the way it stands.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Item 5.01, recognition of Addie R.R. Lee Ross Outstanding Career and Technical Educator Award recipient, Mr. Jason Sir, and Superintendent Dr. Nicely.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I would like to ask Mr. Sir to come up here and join me, please. The Virginia Association of Trade and Industrial Educators has awarded our own Mr. Jason Sir the R.R. Lee Ross Outstanding Career and Technical Educator Award. This award is based upon outstanding service to the field of trade and industrial education. Such service may be of any type or at any level. Nominees may represent education, government, industry, or any other field where contributions to trade and industrial education are evident. Classroom teachers are not eligible for this award. Nominees must show evidence of significant involvement at local, state, and national levels. Educators that are eligible include CTE educators, administrators, guidance counselors, and program specialists. We're very proud, of course, of all the work that Mr. Sher does on behalf of the students of Roanoke County and as our Director of Career and Technical Education. And we have a plaque here that, is it, how do you pronounce the name? Bati? Beitai. The organization has presented to him. So join me in congratulating Mr. Sir.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it, Dr. Nicely, members of the board. It's an honor to serve in this capacity. It's a pleasure to enhance the opportunities for students to explore career options, and it definitely takes a team. I've got a great team with Mr. Jones and Ms. Caldwell, Carl York, and a great staff over at Burton, and we do great things out in the base high schools and middle schools as well. So to the CTE staff, we have a great one here in Roanoke County, and it's a pleasure to help lead that. So thank you very much. I do. I have my wife with me, Rachel. Yep. So I just wanted to honor her, and she actually is a big support, and don't want to leave her out.
Corey, I'm going to take you.
All right, here we are.
I believe Mr. Ray has some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sir, I know you're in the back, so you don't like a recognition sometimes, but I know the 8 years that I've been on and been on the General Advisory Committee, that you brought it a long way since then. And you know, when we started out hoping we had one apprenticeship, which was the Water Authority, now I don't know exactly the number now. I wasn't able to come to the meeting. I had another meeting, but I thought, how many do you have now? Yes. 18 to 20. And in that ton of time, and with you and your staff have brought those programs on board, and a very energetic committee that participates with, at every meeting. So thank you for what you brought the CTE Center up to. And I know you give your credit, staff your credit as well, but thank you. Thank you.
Chairman, one additional word. I thought about this today as we were at the CTE advisory meeting. And then when I came in, I'd seen the agenda, but, kind of reinforced my thinking. And since I've been on the board, I think you were principal at the time, if I'm not mistaken, but you're the face of what I think of with CTE, from where we were to where we are. And I think of all the kids that you've had the ability to be a part of. And I know you've got a team, and it's a wonderful team.
Thank you.
And now, you've added Christian, you have Mark, and everyone that's associated with that. But how many lives you've had the ability to touch, affect, and change in a positive way to get, educational opportunities, but workforce opportunities. So I think Roanoke County is indebted to you, and we thank you for the work you've done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would like to just congratulate you. I can't think of a better person to win that award. You're doing a fantastic job over there at Burton, and excited for what you're going to do at our new CT facility, as I know you are as well. So well done.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. I got to sit on a committee meeting today and speak with Mr. Sir, and he actually gave me some really exciting news that I'll hold off and let him give later. But thank you for everything you're doing. I know you're doing some really good work out there, and I'm excited to see what we're going to be able to accomplish with our new technical center. Thank you. Item 5.02, School Spotlight, Clearbrook Elementary, Miss Julie Knoll.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Nicely. I'm excited to say we are back to Spotlight on School Night tonight, and we are focusing on elementary. And I'd like to invite Ms. Julie Knoll, as well as some of her staff and students, to come forward to share with you.
Welcome, Ms. Knoll.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Nicely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here in Spotlight, our sweet little school. Currently, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Hold on just a second, sorry. It looked different in my office. Currently, our school this is my 6th year at Clearbrook Elementary, and we have 48 staff members and around 331 students. The school was established in 1938. And Clearbrook has long been a school of communities, generation after generation. It's so nice when grandparents come in and say, I went here, and my children went here, and now my grandchildren went here, and we even have some great-grandchildren that go there. So that's really neat. Our team, here's a picture of our team. Our theme this year is moving full steam ahead. We have, our team consists of certified general education and special education teachers, trained instructional support personnel, office staff, a full-time nurse, and a full-time SRO. Thank you very much. And some very happy cafeteria workers. We picked this theme this year because students and faculty know that every day is a brand new day at Clearbrook. We encourage each other to move on and learn from our mistakes from yesterday and never give up. And so we kind of talk about our unstoppable train. Right now, I would like to introduce Mrs. Mandy Churchill. She is a 5th grade teacher in our building. She teaches math.
Hi, it is such a pleasure to get an opportunity to speak with you guys. I was very excited to have this chance to talk about all of the ways that Clearbrook is a really special place. Our school motto is Clearbrook Cares, and this is true in very many ways. We have a wonderful staff where everyone is willing to help, and we truly try to put the student at the center of every decision. Many people call Clearbrook a hidden gem, and I believe that's true. We are tucked away, but to those that know it, our school is a place where people flourish and grow. I have countless stories of both students and teachers who had struggles in the past but become role models here at Clearbrook. This is proof that when teachers and students feel supported, we all become the best versions of ourselves. Most teachers with school-age children even choose to bring them with them to school at Clearbrook, as we believe in our school's philosophy. Often you will find us training our children in the hallway before school or discussing challenges we may have during our planning periods. But we aren't getting to talk to just a teacher or a parent, we are talking to our friends. Clearbrook is like a family. We have a sense of camaraderie that is fostered by things like our Sunshine Committee. They have been known to provide treat trolleys or special breakfasts or even a year-end party. But the main thing they provide is opportunities to gather. This is because at Clearbrook, we understand that the opportunity that we have to share perspectives and ideas can make us all better and stronger. Though many of us have been here a while, we aren't afraid to try new things. We have implemented parts of the thinking classroom, and we do thinking tasks to introduce new concepts in math. We also utilize the concepts of a blended classroom model to allow more student choice and flexibility. By the end of the year, we are going to further implement this, as Clearbrook was chosen as a pilot school for Canvas, and we will be using that to try to implement the blended classroom model even more. By using multiple platforms and varied instructional techniques, we are better able to serve our diverse population. We believe in the power of student agency, and across all grade levels, you can find us giving students the ability to control parts of their learning. In short, Clearbrook cares, and we will continue to find new ways to create a path for our students to become the best version of themselves.
So one thing we focus on at Clearbrook is deeper learning. We focus on student agency, technology, critical thinking, and authentic work. And we find it extremely important that activities that we create and design, students get themselves thinking, they think out of the box, they work together, a lot of collaboration. We enjoy doing that. We also do small group reading and math daily throughout the day in our small group learning circles. By using the data we collect with PLCs, the professional learning committee meetings that we do weekly, we can see if a student is struggling, needs more instruction in certain areas, or needs more rigor in their lessons, and a little bit more instruction on their level, but sometimes at a higher level. We have also implemented PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention System, and daily students give each other shout outs. We announce them on the intercom every single morning, and they love that. We have a 5th grade care squad. These students earn this privilege by being kind, having good behavior, and good model students, and they come and they help me with announcements. They do the Pledge of Allegiance, And they also deliver materials. Sometimes they go in and help teachers and help them, the smaller students, the kindergartners and first grades in their small group. It's really been very beneficial. They love it. For our PBIS, our next event is going to be a fall fun festival, and we're going to have games and paint pumpkins and obstacle courses. And I think they have some surprises for me, which I don't even want to know about. You know how that rolls sometimes. We also have several clubs. We have a kindness club. We have SGA. SGA today just did speeches, and this young man that's going to speak in a second was one of them. He's running for office. So we started a kindness club where students they make a pledge to be role models in the community and show the expectation in the building. So we also have community partners. Lowe's, if you look here, this is our Wonder Garden. If you've ever been to our school, it's a beautiful little place, but this had become very overgrown, and Lowe's came and redid the entire thing, did a lot of our landscaping this year. We also partner with Walmart. They help us so much with supplies for our students, with decorations, with food, whatever we need, and as well as Chick-fil-A and 611 Steakhouse. They offer discounts to teachers. They send us cookies, and they've been great to work with. So at this time, I would like for you to meet Gobin Wonder. He is a 4th grade student at Clearbrook.
Good evening, School Board and Dr. Nicely. My name is Gobin Wander. I am a 4th grade student at Clearbrook Elementary. I have been here since kindergarten. Even my sister went to Clearbrook. Clearbrook is a great place to learn. The teachers give us activities that are fun, but we are still learning. They let you finish your work if you are not able to complete it. The teachers make you feel like you're at home. The bus drivers are very nice and keep us safe. Miss Knoll is awesome and always there for us. Clearbrook is the best.
So in closing, I don't know if you know our mascot, but our mascot is actually a cardinal. And it's very hard to work with a cardinal. So you have to come up with some creative things. But we have a cardinal suit. We dress like the cardinal sometimes. So if you know anything about a cardinal, they're known for loyalty and love. And that's one thing, we call it the cardinal way. At Clearbrook, we want our students to understand that we love them and we're very loyal to them. And so tonight, I have brought each of you a cardinal.
Oh,
Thank you, Jim.
that's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
It's very sweet of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to our young student, Gobin. That's very impressive to get up and speak in front of everybody like that.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
you know I'd be amiss not to say something about one of my schools. And this school is certainly near and dear to my heart because that's where I met my wife. She was teaching there, and I was coaching basketball.
Would she say?
Well, that's another story. And Tim, you know her, so I don't know.
And was that 1938?
Well,
I was thinking he might have been.
you wait. That one's coming.
Mike, you're going to miss all of this, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna miss this. All of this abuse, I just love it.
Who was president?
Anyway, they, when we were, each year, the opening day of school, the various media go to different schools throughout the county. Well, the one year, they went to Clearbrook. And I met the superintendent up there, and we were saying, and he told the media, by the way, did you know that Mr. Ray was in the class in 1938? It's close. Anyway, that's this. It's a gem of a school. It is a hidden gem. Many people have told me that. When we annex some of the other areas to come into Clearbrook, you go all the way out to the Franklin County line for these students. But when we had certain other people coming and said, wow, this is a hidden gem. And it's attributed to Ms. Noel. Is she still in here? Oh, there she is. Ms. Noel and her staff are the ones that really make it happen because they show that it's the love they show for it and the attention and the special attention that they show to the kids. And, you know, I go by there right often because, you know, I always want to go in and that they're always, kids are always so happy there, the way they're, you know, when you're interacting with the kids. And it's such a blessing. And you have, Ms. Noel, you have carried on the tradition of the Clearbrook tradition, and you certainly, and Colvin, you did a wonderful job. That was wonderful what you know, and I'll be by to see you though. But thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the cardinal. Make a nice Christmas tree decoration, so thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. And we can't forget our director, Stephanie Hogan, in the back. You do a great job, Stephanie. Thank you. It's been an honor working with you over the past 2 years. Thank you for everything you do. All right, item 6.01, report by Student Advisory Council, Mr. Brennan Metz, Hidden Valley High School. Welcome, Brennan.
Good evening. Thank you to the board members, staff, and fellow students and anyone watching. I stand before you today as a representative for the SAC, convening regularly and delving into pressing issues that impact our schools through collaborative dialogue and careful planning. We aim to bring forth an effective solution and pave the way for a brighter educational future for all the students across Roanoke County. During our last meeting, a primary concern that arose in our most recent one was a lack of awareness among the student body regarding the SAC's role in the county. As the voice of the students, we recognize the need to bridge this gap. We're brainstorming innovative outreach strategies to ensure that every student feels heard and is aware of how the SAC is championing their causes. I'd ask anyone here to get in touch with me or any of the other SAC members if they have any concerns that they think that we students can speak on. On another note, we were honored to have Mike Riley address our counselor. His enlightening presentation on the profile of a graduate system showed a great framework, we thought, which of course outlines the qualifications required to mold a successful student. We thought it promised to serve as a guiding light for both educators and learners alike. We were big fans. In closing, I'd like to express our gratitude to the board. Your support and trust empower us to take bold steps and make impactful decisions. We pledge to continue working diligently to represent the student body and ensure that our schools continue to remain the bastions of excellence that we know that they are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brennan.
Thank you, Brennan.
Can I also share that Brennan will be presenting at the National PBIS Forum in Chicago at the end of this month? And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're one of the keynote speakers.
Woo. Mr. Chairman,
Now, Mike, we're not going to have time for this all night.
I'll be gone before long. But Brennan, you do a great job of leading that group. I was there for that meeting, and in the interaction that Mr. Riley had with y'all and the thinking, and it was really a great meeting. And you know, I was excited to see the energy in that room when they were participating in the various icebreakers or whatever, you know, different events. So it was really good, and they certainly have the correct leader. So thank you for what you do, Brennan. Thank you.
Item 7.01, hearing of citizens and delegations. During this portion of the meeting, citizens are invited to address the board of matters of public concern and exercise of their First Amendment rights. We ask speakers to be respectful and civil in their comments, observing due respect of the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by public comments. Speakers should be aware that they may be held legally responsible if they make statements that violate the legal rights of others. For example, if statements are made that are defamatory or threatening, complaints about specific school personnel should be addressed to the appropriate school administration, who will address those concerns as appropriate through existing complaint procedures. Comments likely to disrupt the board's work or a prompt breach of peace are prohibited, and the speaker will be called out of order by the board chair. The speakers must address the board chair rather than individual members. Before you speak, please state your name and district that you reside in. Speakers have 3 minutes to make their comments and will be signaled by the lights on the podium. When the light turns yellow, please wrap up your comments and finish before the light turns red. Please be aware that board members listen to comments but do not respond. First up, we have Ryan White, then Keely Meadows, and then Eric Russ.
Members of the board, thank you for your time tonight. I'm Dr. Ryan White. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a cisgendered, heterosexual white male, and I'm an ally of the LGBTQ community. You can be both. I recognize that by simply being a cis white male in the U.S., I am part of a privileged class, and I try to remind myself of this, and I strive to empower those that are not. Now, October is Bullying Prevention Month, so let's talk a little bit about bullying. More info is available online at both CDC and the Bully Resource Center, maintained by the AACAP. Both present basic information and ways to reduce bullying. Studies on there show that 1 in 5 youth experience bullying in some form in any given 2-month period. One way to combat this is to foster and build inclusive school communities, and policies that encourage discrimination of any group of students has been shown to increase bullying and to worsen mental health outcomes. Let's look at one form of bullying that happens not only in school but in the community. Gaslighting is a type of bullying and psychological abuse. Now, this is a tactic in which a person lies or manipulates information to control people. It's used politically as well as in domestic abuse and peer bullying. The aim is to discredit opponents, to imply that their critics are mentally unstable, or to use controversy to deflect attention away from their mistakes. I ask you all to reflect on these points later and pause before you call this community noise or madness. Now let's look at a quote that was used last month by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who said, "Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act." These are bold words, and some that we should all strive to, but I think the goal was a little off there. I believe the goal was to support the strengthening of Christianity in schools. However, we should probably know a little bit about Dietrich. He was born to a wealthy German family in 1904. All this information is readily available, by the way. He was born into privilege, and yet he was an activist against political extremists and the political weaponization of Christianity. He grew up not far from Eastern Berlin, where an LGBTQ community was thriving at the time. However, just prior to World War II, the Nazi regime came into power and targeted that very same community and justified it with religion. This outraged Dietrich, and that is what he spoke out against. Now, records estimate that nearly 50,000 men were imprisoned just for being homosexual. Of these, as many as 15,000 were later sent to concentration camps, and we all know where that ends. I am in no way implying or calling anybody a Nazi here, but I am pointing out how the Nazi regime serves as a stark reminder of just how far political gaslighting can go. For yet another month, I ask you again to repeal the policies of exclusion and marginalization that have been enacted upon by this very board. Hear the outcry from your community. Repeal the classroom decor policy, Governor Youngkin's model policy, and instead choose to rebuild your community and support schools that will embrace diversity and inclusion for our future. Let's all learn from Clearbrook, and let's join the Kindness Club. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. White. Keely Meadows, Eric Russ, Tiffany Sandifer.
Hi, my name is Keely Meadows. I live in the Hollins district. My comments will be directed towards Chairman Brent Hudson. You hear my voice every meeting, and I know you don't listen, you don't want to. You stated on your campaign's Facebook on October 15th, 2021, that once elected, you'll keep political agendas out of our classrooms. You'll ensure that every parent has a voice in their child's education. You also stated you would always be accessible, approachable, and accountable. Brent, stop lying. You haven't only had parents, but you've had your own students call you out, and you haven't listened to us. I've called you 3 times to attempt to speak with you, left voicemails, sent emails, spoke at every board meeting since March, and I've received no response. You claim to be so apolitical, yet you've gained $6,469 from political organizations and political action committees. You blast a Republican on your signs, and you use loopholes to do so. If you're using loopholes to gain a political endorsement for an apolitical campaign, you definitely shouldn't be running for that campaign. This board shouldn't be a Republican board, a Democratic board, a Christian board, a Muslim board. You guys are a school board. If you truly believe in an apolitical school board, vote for Samantha Newell to replace Chairman Brent Hudson, as she's not affiliated with any political party. She doesn't accept PAC money, and she's focused on learning, not new turf football fields, which in turn is unsafe, and athletes are 58% more likely to sustain injuries rather than natural grass. Over the last few months, I've heard a lot of crying, praying. I'm so tired of this over and over again. Yet these things, including your inability to respond, continue to add fuel to the metaphorical fire under my heart that will eventually push this board out of office. But not everybody can stand up like I can. So as I finish my comments, due to the emotional distress this board has caused, Chairman Brent Hudson, please apologize to my community. Because of your inadequate special education in this district and your unwillingness to fix the problems we have, I will never be able to go to prom or homecoming or make friends my age. You've ruined us. So again, Brent Hudson, I'm asking for an apology, and I will wait until the light turns red. I'm not able to go to school anymore. I can't go to prom, can't go to football games, no homecoming, no meeting new friends. I've called you multiple times in order to find solutions for special education children, and you haven't answered. No apology? I'm your student, Brent. Why no apology?
Thank you, Ms. Meadows.
Why no apology?
Your time is up.
Thank you. Why no apology?
Eric Russ, Tiffany Sandifer, Jason Latempa.
Please forgive me, this is going to be difficult to get through. Good evening. Mr. Chairman, on the night of October 9th, you closed a speech you gave to a group of potential voters by quoting the following Bible verse, saying that it helps you and that you need it. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. Ever since I heard that, those words have been ringing in my head. It truly troubles me, as a citizen of Roanoke County, that an elected official would lean on such a passage. After that, you said you wouldn't let the government and schools corrupt the minds of the children of Roanoke County. Mr. Chairman, I have a grave concern from multiple angles that you would lean on and quote this Bible verse. Roanoke County is a diverse place where our neighbors come from multiple different backgrounds, have different ways of life, and practice many religions other than Christianity. Due to this very fact, not everybody is going to agree on every issue before our community. Not everyone will live their life or raise their children the same way, and not everyone will see every method as the preferred method. Naturally, these differences, I apologize again, will come to be discussed in schools among students. In fact, I even recall a lesson in one of my middle school classes where we learned about how Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are all related. Well, Commandment 1 says there should be no other gods before me. Do you think that that teacher who taught that lesson would be better off dead? That's just one example, but I have multiple family members, friends, and true educators who I love and care for that have shaped my life that work in these schools. Have they done anything that would make them better off at the bottom of the sea? Mr. Chairman, hearing you say that so callously and the way you steamrolled through it hurt me on a level that I never thought possible. It hurts to think about who could be on that list, who, in your opinion, would be better off with a millstone fastened around their neck, dead at the bottom of the sea. Why would you lean on something so cold while sitting up there advocating love for all, saying that all lives are precious, and telling us that you love us all? It does not make sense.
Thank you, Mr. Russ. Tiffany Sandifer, Jason Latempa, Jamie Patrone.
Good evening. Most of you know me, but for those who don't, I'm Tiffany Sandifer, county resident and parent to 2 county students who are now homeschooled. October is Bullying Prevention Month, and in Roanoke County, there has long been a bullying problem. When I was a student at Horn, Cundiff, Byrd Middle and High Schools, the bullying most people experienced was for being poor, neurodivergent, queer in any way, or because they had physical or learning disabilities. I had hoped that in the 25 years since I graduated, there would be more growth in the county. But there has only been regression, and these groups are targeted even more harshly now. We all have anecdotal accounts of knowing kids who are being bullied while nothing is being done about it, all of us on all sides. It's deeply disturbing to all of us, but can we really be surprised? In May, this board let a local parent and realtor exceed the stated time to call educators and administrators groomers and sexual predators. Around a dozen educators left or were forced out of that school after those slanderous comments. That case of adult bullying cost people their livelihoods, and it will cost county taxpayers when this district is eventually sued from multiple directions. This board has never repudiated those comments, has never apologized for allowing a commenter to accuse county staff of crimes and moral offenses that impact their ability to work. Since then, Chairman Hudson has arrested 3 people in board meetings, dramatically increased law enforcement presence at meetings, declined DOJ community mediation, gone viral on social media for flashing his badge at a citizen legally filming him and asking questions, and has shouted parents' rights after dozens of parents addressed the board in oppositions to its actions. Board members regularly refer to public comments as noise or a vocal minority, despite dozens of speakers consistently showing up to speak, even after this board restricted speakers to being county residents. There have been hundreds of attendees at various demonstrations against this board's actions, some student organized, yet this board insists it's doing what the community and our school system wants. Does this board stand against bullying? Well, I can say it doesn't stand against gaslighting, microaggressions, ignoring, dismissiveness, misuse of law enforcement and the legal system. So no, I don't think we can say this board stands against bullying. Rather, you lay the roadmap for how to effectively do it, while defining any defense against it as bullying against yourselves. Our community deserves better. Vote for independent candidate Mary Wilson in the Cave Spring District and write in Samantha Newell in Catawba to unseat Chairman Brent Hudson and restore some common sense, balance, and kindness to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandifer. Jason Latempa, Jamie Patrone, Sullivan Manley.
Good evening, and thank you, board, for allowing me to speak. Before I get started, I would like to ask that throughout this and after, if nobody would clap in agreement or disagreement, and just let me kindly speak. I came here a few months back and spoke about my approval of the passing of the model policy, and I expressed my concern for what I saw as a lot of hate and anger that was being thrown out. Well, I come here today, even though the policy has been approved and you guys have moved forward, we're still seeing some backlash from it and some backlash against those who are for it. But I didn't come here today to argue about one way or another. As I expressed in my last speech, I am a Christian, and I boldly stand by that. You can say what does that have to do with Or why do you have to bring that up in a school board meeting, but it's the same as bringing up anything that is not academics in a school board meeting? You see, Christianity isn't some secondhand topic that has to hide behind a church wall. And to be totally honest, it was never meant to be barricaded behind the walls. That is why you are seeing us here. No, Christianity is the reason you and I are standing here today. You can debate with me all day if you want, but the truth won't go away. I am on one side of this argument that has been raging for months now. I am, but that does not mean that I am to hate or look down on anyone that is on the other side. Let me clarify something real quick. Yes, I do agree with the policy, and I do hope it stays in place. And if you have hate or ill will toward me, then so be it. But you being against it does not make me hate you or have any ill will towards you. One of my favorite quotes from all time comes from American poet Walt Whitman. He says, "Be curious, not judgmental." You see, I want to say that yes, I come here as my face sees it to come, but I also come here to say, hey, you sitting across from me, we may be more alike than you think. We may love art, music, we may love outdoors. We have a passion for writing. You see, after coming to Christ, I had a different take on what it was to be a Christian. I thought it was to have a title and just to be a good person. But no, it was so that I could imitate a man that did nothing but love, even when he was speaking truth to who he believed needed to hear it. And that man was Jesus. Now, I have not and never will live up to what he was able to do, but I will try my best. And yes, I do believe Jesus stands for righteousness, and he would not waver to anything that would go against the word of God. But I also believe he would have stood up here with the love in his heart and said to you and I that he does love you and he does want the best for you, even if it hurts us to hear that sometimes what we may do isn't what he wants us to do. I guess my reasoning for coming here tonight and speaking was just to take the time to speak to anyone that don't understand the reasoning behind some of us that speak out against what you are for. For one, we do want the best for our children, and that's what we believe to be the best. So you may see us as a hateful, judgmental people, but that is furthest from the truth. We are people that will love you even if we don't agree with you. You know that old saying, don't take my kindness for weakness. Well, it's true. Don't take the kindness of who we are to be weak people, but actually it's the total opposite. It takes a strong person to love someone even if they don't agree with them or may have an issue with what they stand for. So I lastly want to say, may each and every one hearing this know that God does love you, but it is our responsibility to do what is right in his eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tempo.
Good evening, Chairman Hudson, members of the board, Superintendent Nicely. I'm Jamie Petrone, and I reside in the Cave Spring District. I want to thank you once again for adopting Governor Northam's transgender model policies. I know we're a few months on the other side of this decision, but the pushback and the controversy are still here and are far from over, and so voices still need to be heard. So as we know, the primary mission of a public school is to educate children with the partnership and support of parents. Within this educational setting, there should be ample opportunities for students to collaborate, cooperate, persevere, learn from mistakes, show kindness, celebrate cultural diversity, respect others, be honest, and take responsibility for choices. And parents trust and expect that their children are learning in this type of environment. But parents also trust and expect that the teacher is going to keep them informed, especially when their children are struggling academically, socially, or emotionally. So transparency with parents should not be based on a teacher's subjective viewpoint of the issue at hand. And when a teacher affirms a child's gender identity exploration or decision to transition without the parent's consent, or actively makes the decision to withhold this information from parents altogether, they're stepping out of the bounds of their role as an educator as much as they do love the children. I realize not all children are raised in healthy home environments. However, this sad reality does not negate the fact that parents have a God-given legal right to be informed and involved in every aspect of their child's upbringing, education, and care. For the school systems in Virginia that do not have these model policies in place at this point, I believe there's a greater chance that parents will not be contacted if a teacher or an administrator subjectively determines it would be best not to. Excluding imminent harm situations, of course, I believe this case-by-case approach has the potential to leave the parent completely out of the loop, which is unconstitutional. Just recently, there was a groundbreaking court ruling in Wisconsin that affirmed the fundamental rights of parents to direct the upbringing and education of their children. A school helped a student socially transition without the parent's consent or without their approval, and the parents, of course, sued the district. Paraphrasing from the article by the Daily Signal, the circuit court judge decided the school district abrogated parents' rights when it decided to socially affirm their daughter as a transgender boy against their wishes. According to the judge, this Wisconsin school district's current policy of handling these issues on a case-by-case basis is not permissible and violates fundamental parental rights. So once again, I want to thank you for the stance that you have taken to uphold the fundamental rights of parents, and may God continue to bless the work of your hands and guide you with his wisdom and his peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Sullivan Manley. Then Daniel Bynum and Reagan Costello White.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Sullivan Manley, and I currently live in Hollins. I will keep my remarks brief and as respectful as possible. This board is only allowing the parents who agree with them to have parents' rights. Parents' rights should apply to all parents. Do not say that you support parents' rights, but only believe that they matter if you agree with them. The board has made the Roanoke County community look bad locally and in the national news, destroying the reputation of this county and its school system. The clearing of a public meeting when only maybe 1 or 2 people should have been removed is shameful than members of the public being arrested for trespassing in a public meeting. Hatred should have no place in the Roanoke Valley, let alone a public school system, but this board seems to attract it very well. There is good news, though. Nonpartisan Samantha Newell is running a write-in campaign for the Catawba District School Board race. And to close, Chairman Hudson and members of the board, you should resign. Thank you.
We'll take a brief pause for a second. Thank you, Mr. Manley.
That's better.
Mr. Bynum, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are. Thank you. Sorry, pulling up my notes real quick. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the board, for the privilege to speak before you tonight. I speak on behalf of myself as a resident of Roanoke County and as a fellow Christian with real concern for the younger generation in this region. I thank you for adopting the model policies and helping hold the line. I've come tonight to raise my voice for the generation before me that is hanging in the balance between total moral depravity and a revival of God's power and love. I do not come to fight against flesh and blood, as Ephesians 6:12 states, but I come tonight to speak against the spirits behind the movement of the LGBTQ+ community that is trying to dominate our children and make them hypersexualized. What we tolerate will have authority over us. If we refuse to stand against the brainwashing of children, then we will lose this generation. The enemy of our souls would love nothing more than to destroy God's creation and use us as pawns against the will and plan of God. Since the beginning, we were created male and female. According to Genesis 1:27, we were to be fruitful and multiply. Well, tell me, how can a young boy take puberty blockers because of adult intervention will be able to be fruitful and multiply when he doesn't even comprehend the body parts he started with were natural and God-given to increase his family bloodline? Or vice versa with a young girl, you could say the same thing. The idea that children can choose their gender is absurd and demonically deranged at best. If I can't get my nephew to decide which toy out of the toy box he wants to play with for more than 60 seconds at a time, how could children be developed mentally and physically enough to decide on their own to go against their God-made biology? Whether we want to hear it or not, sin is still sin in 2023. That means homosexuality, murder, theft, lying, cheating, adultery, and even gluttony are still considered sins by God. To misinterpret grace and pervert what real love is to the point of lust is blasphemy. There is only one truth and one love that is superior to all others, and that's found in Jesus Christ. His love requires commitment and picking up your cross. I urge all who are in this room tonight and listening online to search their hearts and determine if you need to get right with God. I'd be happy to help pray for you. It's time to raise our voice as the silent majority is waking up and answering the call. We will not sit back any longer and watch our children be used and abused by this movement for the sake of political gain and indulging their lack of self-control. You can be set free. You can be delivered in Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit wants to heal every broken area of your soul. It's time we speak the truth that without turning from sin and turning to God, our lives will be ruined by the weight of our own actions and will prevent us from spending eternity with God. It's time to repent, Roanoke. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. After Reagan Costello White, we have Lucy Harbert and Lavanya Harrell and Carrie Harrell.
Hi there, ladies and gentlemen of the school board. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Reagan Costello White, and I'm a resident of Roanoke County and a parent of a student in this district. I'd like to start by acknowledging the importance of October as Bullying Prevention Month and the need for us to address issues related to bullying in our community. However, my concerns today revolve around a different form of bullying, one that occurs within our community and one that is both insidious and damaging. A pastor associated with this school board has been leveraging his position of power and influence to silence dissenting voices within our community. This is not merely an isolated incident. Rather, it is a disturbing pattern. The pastor in question has repeatedly utilized the justice system to target at least 3 individuals that I know of who dare to express their differing opinions. This relentless cycle of legal action includes lawsuits, protective orders, and cease and desist letters aimed at intimidating those who disagree with him. What is particularly concerning is the deep-rooted connection between this school board and the pastor in question. Not only has he served as a past member of the board, but the board has also played a role in hiring his wife for a position within Roanoke County. Furthermore, this school board has permitted this pastor to spearhead an anti-bullying campaign in our schools, ironically titled Expect Respect. It raises important questions that demand our consideration. Is it appropriate for an independent school board to maintain such a close association with a pastor who utilizes litigation as a weapon against community members? Is it in line with democratic principles for individuals who disagree with the board to become targets of litigation at the hands of someone who could be perceived as an extension of the board? As concerned citizens, parents, and stakeholders in the education of our children, we must reflect on these issues and consider the implications they have for our community. Our school board holds a significant responsibility to ensure a safe, inclusive, and respectful environment for all students and residents. It is essential that we maintain a culture of open dialogue where differing opinions are not met with intimidation and legal threats, but with respectful engagement and constructive discourse. I implore the school board to examine this matter thoroughly, assess the implications of such associations on our community, and take appropriate steps to ensure that the fundamental principles of democracy and open dialogue are upheld within our educational institutions. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to your thoughtful consideration of this matter.
Lucy Harbert.
Good evening. It may seem crazy to say this at a public school board meeting, but with politics influencing our current school board and the candidates you've endorsed for the upcoming election, I'm here to share why I value our public school system, and I would also like to remind you why you are elected and who you serve. Public school serves all children. A free, equitable public education. That is what they are entitled to. It's also what we have the moral imperative to provide. A wave of self-proclaimed Christians speaks regularly, letting us know that they aren't going anywhere with their desire to impose Christian nationalism on the taxpayer's dime. They make it sound really pretty, as if stamping out unique needs and making certain kids feel unheard and unworthy could possibly be the right thing to do. I'm a Christian too. On Sunday mornings, I teach Sunday school. In my own home, I guide my children's faith journey. The rest of the week, I walk out into the world and act on my faith. But I don't need to say a word to my students about that. My faith guides me to love all of God's children and to serve the ones that religious hypocrites condemn and judge. So I just show my students love and respect. I show them love if they look or act or dress like the majority, and I show them love if they march to the beat of their own drum. Some kids come to us with more advantages than others. For many children, school is a safe haven. Basic needs are met here: resources, love, health, and safety. I think every educator here has stories they wish they could share, if only it would convince others that our public schools are essential. But confidentiality and our respect for our kids keeps us from sharing specifics. There are so many other things I wish I had time to talk to you about. I would like to discuss the inconsistent policies that our amazing school nutrition staff deal with, things like having to serve sugary drinks that are full of artificial food coloring, while also limiting how many ketchup packets kids are allowed. I wish I could talk to you about resources that would allow us to better provide basic needs to children. And I would love to be here only to share the amazing growth that I've seen in my own school. It really shows what we are all about and why we shouldn't just throw our hands up and put our money elsewhere. But here I am, pleading with our board to show compassion to all humans still, and to stop listening to organizations like Moms for Liberty who want to redirect public school funding. I don't accept that. I hope you don't either. And I genuinely want to work together in the best interest of our students. I hope you do too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lavanya Harrell, welcome.
Good evening, Chairman Hudson and Board, and thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I am a resident of the Hollins District. My name is Lavanya Harrell. I first want to thank you, as others have done, for your adoption of the 2023 model policies. I am one that is sad that we have to have them to begin with, but since we do, I think you've chosen the best. And I think you have avoided something that has happened already just in September in Rockingham County, Rockingham County School District, where a young man stripped down in a girl's locker room. And I think that there are guidelines built into the policies that will help. And this particular school board had decided to adopt part of the policy and not part of it, to review and think about it a little longer. I want to thank you for going ahead, diving in and adopting the policy in its totality. Chairman Hudson, we have not ever met outside this room, and I've never spoken to you by phone. I don't know you, but I want to use my time here tonight to thank you for your strong leadership during what has been a tumultuous year here in Roanoke County. Unfortunately, our county has drawn the attention even of many around the nation, and I don't think that's what any of us wanted, and I know it's not what any of you set out to do when you accepted these positions to serve the community. But I want to speak to you and say that you are someone who's been raised up in leadership for such a time as this. According to Daniel 2:22, I ask God to make known to you the mystery of his will. I declare that skillful and godly wisdom has entered into your heart, and your ears are attentive to godly counsel, to do that which is right in the sight of God. I did believe that what Paul said to the church at Ephesus, we're not wrestling against flesh and blood or people. We all know that. This is a spiritual war that we're in here on this earth. And in light of that, I speak that every veil of deception will be removed from people's eyes. Every demonic network that may have aligned itself against you will be broken and will be torn down. May you overcome every strategy from hell, and may the strategy of the enemy fail. May you have the strength, according to Isaiah 66:9, to bring forth your destiny. Let the secret counsel of wickedness be turned to foolishness. I declare, according to Psalm 34:7, that you, Chairman Hudson, and you, school board, are surrounded and protected from all destruction, that the angels of the Lord encamp around you and your families. From Isaiah 54, may you be established in righteousness, and let oppression be far from you. I deploy the hand of the Lord to work for you, securing your calling, securing your family, securing your victory. I pray Psalm 89:17, the Spirit of the Lord rest upon you, and may his favor cause your voice to be exalted. I speak all of these things and offer them in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kerry Harrell, and I'm from Hollins District. Good evening, Chairman Hudson and the board. I'm truly grateful and thankful for all of the verbal abuse, disrespect, false accusations that you and the board have endured, that you have remained strong pillars in our community, upholding the values of the vast majority of Roanoke County, violating or validating the parents' responsibility to raise our own children. Raising our own children without the aid of activists parading and pretending to be teachers, pushing the agenda of wokeism that's designed to further crush the family structure and deny our parents' rights to be involved in our own children's lives. In some cases, they even have been going behind the parents' backs, promoting rebellion and silence while they indoctrinate. Thank you for not bowing down to the pressure of political correctness and the diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda. Again, thank you again for your firm stand for us parents. We are not bigots, we're not racist, homophobes, or deplorables, or Nazis, or any other lies that they try to brand us with. These are our children given to us by God to love, to cherish, and also has given us a responsibility to raise them according to our values and our value system, not someone else's, including a rogue teacher's activism. We should never have to debrief our kids every day from ungodly agendas. Our children are our heritage, and they are our responsibility, and we shouldn't have to make sure that they're not exposed to an anti-parent agenda. They are our inheritance, and they are not your next recruit. So thank you, Chairman Hudson and board, for taking a stand for us and not caving in to the less than 0.5%. Thank you for hiring teachers who have values, promoting the moral and the mental health of our children, and protecting the sanctity of our families, for keeping classrooms from becoming indoctrination camps and what was once education from being turned into government grooming. So in closing, I'd like to say, wokesters, you have had your day. God haters have had their say. Tyrannical activists have had their way. And now, board, for you we pray. God bless our city. God bless our county. God bless our schools and our school board. Thank you.
All right, now we move on to our consent agenda. Item 8.01, approval our consent.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve item 8, consent agenda, as presented.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name?
Number 6.
Number 6 check-in, Angela? She didn't check in.
Did you check in when you arrived?
I don't know what checking means.
Okay, you can come on up and speak. I'm gonna go ahead and let you have 3 minutes. I apologize for the confusion.
Mr. Chairman, before we do, I think we had a motion. Should we finish that motion on consent?
We can do
Sure.
that. Madam Clerk, will you go ahead and call the roll for that? We'll get you in just a second, ma'am, okay? You can come on
You're
up.
fine, you're fine. Just,
No.
You can come on up. This is gonna take 2 seconds.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Okay.
you go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you for letting me speak. First of all, before I start, I do think you owe Dr. White a correction. He is a doctor, not a mister, when he spoke first tonight. My name's Phyllis Klugas. My son is a student in our district. I'm going to start with a letter somebody gave me to read for them. I want to start off by thanking the individual who's reading this letter on my behalf. Due to personal reasons, including severe social anxiety, and that's a lot of our children in our district, I'm not comfortable speaking in public. I now address you, the board, and especially you, Mr. Hudson. My name is Cole, and I'm a 2004 graduate of the first graduating class from Hidden Valley High School. Over the last month or so, I've watched this board make a mockery of a governing body. I've watched you in particular, Mr. Hudson, ride an addictive power trip by flashing a badge at someone who was completely unarmed and posed no threat to you in the slightest other than a differing opinion. Most importantly, I've watched this board place countless LGBTQ plus students in potential harm's way, and that's a real thing, through an overreach of a religious-based power that has no business being in a public school system. In 1802, Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to the Danbury, Connecticut Baptist Convention in which he presented his views on the relationship between religion in the role of the state and the new nation, basing his views on the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, which he said there would be no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Jefferson stated there must be a wall of separation that clearly limited the involvement of religious denominations and religious leaders in matters related to national governance. One thing is clear: freedom of religion does not state, nor is the same thing as the freedom to oppress others based on your religion or impose your religion on others. The statement, "I can't do that because it's against my religion," is okay and understandable. The statement, "You can't do that because my religion says so," is not okay. I'll leave you with this. It's a quote from the metal band Device and their track Out of Line. Their Machiavellian minds concoct their wicked designs. They think they're standing on the side of destiny, constricting freedom. They've wrought the ultimate sin. They've made pariahs of the sons of liberty. And in the name of their God, they wage their war and applaud their deadly dogma that controls society. Who gave you the right to perpetual night? Your holy rationales have never made sense to me.
Your time is over by about 15 seconds. You need to wrap it up.
Oh, well, I just wanted to add, for me, any child born in the United States is an American citizen. They have the same rights as the rest of us. That's where you guys come in, because some people want to take away their rights, and you're here not to strip students of their rights.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We do not have any action items tonight. We do not have any information agenda tonight. So I am going to move on to 11.01, report by Roanoke County School Superintendent Dr. Nicely. Before you make your comments, I do want you to clarify something for us and for the people in the crowd, because I believe a statement was made upon the staff that would be incorrect. So I'm pretty positive in the last 2 years, the pastor in question that was brought up here, his wife is not employed with us, correct?
If they're speaking about who I think they are.
Everybody knows it's Dr. McCracken.
Right, his
So-
wife does not work for us.
Okay, I just wanted that clarified for everybody in the room in case there was some question to that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Dr. Nicely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this month is 2 awareness months that we're recognizing. One is the Disability Awareness Month. I want to give a shout out to all the student athletes who participated in the recent Big Feet meet and congratulate them on their success, but also all the other students and staff who came out to cheer them on and send them off on their way. It was just really great to see that from several schools where that occurs. This is also the National Bullying Prevention Awareness Month, and our Respect campaign you see up on the screen is something that it continues in all of our schools, and that speaks for itself. I think almost all the schools posed for a photo with their faculty and did a little hashtag just to kind of promote that that expectation in the schools, and so appreciate all the faculties who came together to present those photos. And just also want to give a word of thanks to all of our school counselors who work tirelessly on those efforts, as well as the school administrators who follow up on those needs. So appreciate everything that they do. Also want to remind parents that we do have currently a calendar survey that's out and about that we encourage staff as well as families to participate in. This is regarding the school calendar for next school year. So there's emails, there's notices that have gone out about that. That's also available on our website, as Mr. Lineberger is displaying there on the screen. And you can also access that through our social media pages. So encourage everyone to complete that if they haven't done so already. And then just briefly, during second 9 weeks is when I traditionally try to get out to each school and actually go through and visit classes with the principals, and I just really have enjoyed kicking that off this week. Last week, I think, Mr. Linden, you were stopped by Burlington also for their teddy bear clinic, and that was a great thing to see with Carillion Children's Hospital coming in, and all the kindergartners brought in their stuffed animals, and they kind of read a story and just sort of talked to the students about, not being afraid to go to the doctor and the hospital and that kind of thing. And so it was really great to see them engage with that. And then yesterday got to do the classes at Burton Center, and then this morning over at Green Valley and Oak Grove. So I'll be continuing on my schedule, but I'm always encouraged to get into the classes and seeing just a wonderful job that all of our teachers, all of our staff, and just all the students are doing. They're really hard workers and doing good things in our schools. And so I just appreciate everything that they do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, moving on to 12.01, reports and inquiries of board members. Mr. Linden, would you like to start?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to thank Carillion for last Friday's event. As Dr. Nicely said, it was great to see those nurses come in and try to make those kids comfortable with going to the doctor, and who knows, maybe it'll spur some of them on to want to get into the medical profession someday. But that was a lot of fun there. Had a chance to go to the Burton Open House on Monday night as well, and it was a great crowd there. Excited to see so many kids wanting to learn about those different CTE programs, and even more excited when we can get them into that new facility. So the other thing, just like to thank Dr. McClung and the leadership team for all they're doing with PBIS. I know it's not easy, but it's work that is very helpful in our schools, and I definitely see it firsthand there at Northside Middle, Northside High School, and you guys are doing a great job, so thank you very much. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and as I've said before, thank everyone for coming and expressing your opinion. That's what a democracy is, and we certainly have the rights to come and speak whatever you have on your mind. So thank you for coming tonight. I do want to thank Dr. McClung as well. The PBIS system that we have in place is recognized all over, and it's all because you and your group are implementing. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's it.
Oh, my gosh.
Are you okay? Might get this man
Somebody
a
check
doctor.
his pulse.
Wait till the next two meetings.
Mr. Shawnee?
I'm going to be pretty quick, too. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Knoll, for your wonderful presentation. It was excellent. I loved your motto, Clearbrook Cares. And of course, the Cardinal, this little gift, this Christmas tree. This means a lot to me because of a grandfather that appears to me regularly via Cardinal. So that was a sign from him tonight. Congratulations, Mr. Sir. I didn't get a chance to say anything before, but that is a very prestigious recognition and award. We're fortunate to have Mr. Sir working with us. He has a great team, and I'm really excited to see what our new building looks like. We had a work session, what was that, last week? And I encourage everybody to go back and watch that. It was quite a long work session, but it was much needed because it was able to show in the public what we're looking at for future programming and what programs are kind of being phased out, moving to the homeschools, and how we're going to be implementing these programs to really serve our community and our students at a much needed level. So these are exciting times, and I'm really excited to see how this continues to progress. One other thing I just say is I've attended some trainings. I think it's important as school board members that we stay up to date on things that are happening in our state. I'd like to report that more divisions have actually passed the model policies. So congrats to them that they're stepping in line with the law. And more importantly, I think as we have elections coming up, that people understand that the majority, the last time I checked, is 50+1. So people vote with your feet. We're on this school board. I don't think any of us really have a strong political I should say, following. We follow our hearts. I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, and those values I bring to this school board. And if that is values that people don't support, so be it. But I am a Christian and I'm a conservative. And most importantly, we are here to educate our children and to give them the best possible excellence in education that we can and meet every single child's individual needs. And I think in times like this, unfortunately, there's a lot of conflict, and it's really unfortunate because it takes away from all the excellent things that we are doing, it takes away from our excellent teachers, our excellent staff. And I know that every single one of us who serves on this board feels compelled to do what we do every single day. And it's a wonderful thing, it's a privilege, and it's an honor, and I am lucky to serve, and I'm blessed. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shawnee. Mr. Greenway?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too, since we have everyone here, thank you for coming, Mr. Ray. As he said, this is a democracy. You get the opportunity to speak, and we appreciate you come and exercise that. But I think, and I forget who it was, but it was a lady that said she was a Sunday school teacher. And she comes away from the Sunday school class and says she loves and respects all. And I think that's exactly what we do at Roanoke County Public Schools. We love and respect all. And nothing's changed, nothing during this period or any time before it. We may not agree on some things, but I do agree with her on the love and respect all, and I think that's the way we should approach each and every day. And I don't expect any, as Ms. Facciani's already said, I don't expect any applause. Please don't do that or what have you. But I'm just stating it just to let you know we don't teach Christian principles in our schools, but I am a Christian, and it does guide me. Not a perfect. Let me just make sure everybody understands. I'm not sitting up here to sit on pedestal, but I will not deny the fact that that's who I am. It just is. It's just the truth. With that, I thank everybody for coming, and I want to say one thing further. A lot of accusations getting mentioned. Mr. Hudson, you took some pretty poignant comments where we're not to respond, and while we can't respond, I can. In my public comments, speak to the fact that I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate you sitting on this board. I appreciate everything you do for our school board. I know that you're here for the right reasons. And there's a lot of times, and there's a lot of people that I've came across through being on the board that may not be for the right reasons, or there's intentions that you can see through in any political area. And I don't consider this one a political, I consider this a neutral board. But we do have certain principles that guide us, and that there's no getting away from that. There is one way you can affect that, and that's to vote. And I'm just going to say this because there was more of that at the podium. If Catawba votes Mr. Hudson back in, they've got an advocate. They've got somebody that speaks for them. They've got somebody that advocates for them each and every meeting. And he doesn't ask the status of the child. He doesn't ask, the gender. He doesn't ask any of those questions. He simply advocates for those kids. So I think there were some unfair attacks, but it's certainly a free country, and we all get to state, the way we feel. And so that I just want to throw that out, Mr. Hudson, and let you know that I appreciate the time that you've been on the board. We've gotten a lot accomplished in this year. Our schools, CTE and elementary schools, are lucky that we had your leadership to be here. And with that, I'm going to say no more. But I do have one last thing. So I was in the office a couple times today because we had the CTE meeting. And Dr. Nicely, I heard some discussion from some clerks, and they were fussing about where they had to park. So I want to say that we need to consider putting their names on a couple parking spots so that they have parking spots, right? So, we were kidding. But if somebody takes some chalk out there and could put a couple names out there.
You mean our bosses?
Well, I wasn't going to mention any names, but if you get those two over there, no, it's all good. Thank y'all for coming, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your kind comments. Kind of speaking last, you're always at a disadvantage because everybody's already brought up the great things. So I won't be long. I'd like to congratulate Jason Sir again. I sat in today on a committee at our CTE Center with the automotive industry, and I got to speak with representatives from Snap-on, Lawrence Transfer, Dixie Auto Fab, Magic City Ford, several of these folks in the business community that are super excited about our new CTE Center and the opportunities that we are going to create for our kids to be able to graduate and walk right into these jobs. It's just absolutely amazing. I spoke with a young man on Saturday in my district while I was out knocking some doors, and he is in our apprenticeship program, and he's currently working for a local HVAC and electrical company. And I asked him, were you going to go to school, or what's your plans? And he's like, well, I'm going to night school, working on and I don't know all this terminology because I'm not into electricity and electrician stuff, but he said, I'm going to be a journeyman, and then by the time I'm age 23, I'll be a master electrician. And he's at Burton, and these are the stories that I absolutely love hearing, because I know that right out of high school, I was not interested in going to college. Now, I went to college later on in life. I'm glad that I didn't try it early on, because I definitely can tell you I would have came right back home and wasted a lot of money. So it really makes me happy. I'm very energetic about this. I'm a technical-minded kind of person. I love working on things. My children are the same way. So I'm super excited about all the opportunities that we're going to be able to provide these kids at Burton. And I'd like to thank our staff. Everybody's worked so hard to make sure that every program that we're putting there is legitimate. It's needed in the community. It's going to create jobs. And we're also working with the business community in each different section to make sure that we are going to have the right equipment. We're going to be teaching the right methods to where our students are going to be able to walk right out of Burton and right into any type of industry that they're trying to go to, use the same equipment, and already come out with a lot of certifications. We talked about like ASE and some of the other certifications that are required for you to be a mechanic, and it's great that we're doing that. I'd like to thank our staff and recognize them for all the hard work they've done. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight and speaking their opinion. And everybody have a great Halloween. Good night.